I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I just
Okay.
prepared a couple questions to ask you, if that's all right.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the first one I got is are there any diet limitations or anything like any foods you can't eat because of
Yes. It's all personal, but as a rule, spicy foods are not good. Sugar isn't really good to have, even though people do have it. What else is there? Processed foods, very bad, like deli meats and stuff. That's not good. It's best to for Crohn's disease, especially when you have a flare up or if it's active. It's best to have stuff that's easy to digest. Like I always go back to the basics, like chicken, fish, rice, potato. Those are things that are good for you. And it's just like anyone else. Like if you have a normal stomach and you had some spicy food, you might be fine, but it's not going to be the greatest maybe the next day or 2 days later. So it's just accentuated with someone with Crohn's disease. But I found as a rule that it's mainly dairy, sugar, processed foods, and spicy foods are pretty much, and a lot of bread, like a lot of gluten, to me, isn't good for the gut at all. So that should take care of the answer, right? Yeah.
perfect. So are there any lifestyle choices or limitations that it might cause you at
It,
all?
it, it does. When limitations, I think, would be, again, when Crohn's disease is active, it's much different than when it's in remission, let's say. When you're in remission, your symptoms aren't that bad, so you can do your everyday activities and no one even know the difference, and you can function normally. When it's a flare up, or when it's active, or when you have a serious case of it, you the first part is that you go to the bathroom many times, so food doesn't absorb. It kind of goes right through you because your intestines are inflamed. They won't take the nutrients like they should, and it kind of goes right through you. So that in itself could make you very tired, lethargic. B, you could have to go to the bathroom all the time, so it's not like you want to go to the movies in public because you're going to run to the bathroom 10 times. So it limits you. If your disease is active, it does limit you from doing your daily activities because it becomes a nuisance, and maybe because you just don't have the energy to go about your daily tasks. Like any sort of disease that's active will sort of limit you that way. But if you're living with it and you're managing it with medications and stuff like that, it's absolutely normal sort of life, no problems there.
So what medications would you be taking? Like you mentioned medications. So what would be the
Okay.
certain types that
So again, it depends on the degree of your disease and where it's at. So I'll start from the worst case scenario. Let's say if you come and all of a sudden you get Crohn's disease, but it comes quick and furious, and all your small intestines are inflamed, and you're in a panic type of situation. The newest and latest drugs are immunosuppressant drugs. So IMMU whatever. So immunosuppressant drugs, or immune suppress, whatever it
yeah.
is. There's different types, but the first one that came out was called Remicade. And then since then they have something called Humira, and I mean even since then maybe there's even more. Because the root of the problem with Crohn's disease and colitis that are closely related is an overactive immune system. So it means that your immune system is thinking that it's under attack. So what it does is it sends out all the sensors to fix whatever they feel is being attacked, and what ends up happening, the result of that is inflammation, basically, because it's attacking something that doesn't need to be attacked, which in essence causes inflammation. So the Remicade is a newer drug because what it does, it suppresses the immune system. So that's good because an underactive immune system means your inflammation won't happen in your intestines. But in the long run, after 10, 20 years, and there's no studies to be told about this, if you're suppressing your immune system every 4 to 6 weeks, I would only imagine in 10 years your immune system would be compromised. Then they'll make you more susceptible to other serious diseases and infections and stuff like that. So unfortunately, a lot of people got to go on it because this is what helps and this is the most effective drug that's out there, but there are side effects to being on it for a long time. So that's one thing. Immunosuppressants are the new thing. So steroid, like prednisone. Prednisone is a universal steroid that's used for anti-inflammatory. Sometimes they'll put people, if they don't want to go on the immunosuppressants, they'll put someone on this prednisone. But prednisone could only be given for a limited amount of time, because if you're on prednisone for a long period of time, your bones start to get brittle, and there's side effects of that as well. So if you had a lot of inflammation, the best way to fight it would be to take prednisone, but then they got to wean you off of it. And my problem was, before immunosuppressants were around, I was taking prednisone, and I would go on it, and as they were weaning me off, my inflammation would come back. Then they had to put me back on, then they take me off, put me back on. So eventually, it wasn't good, so that's when I had to get an operation. But since then, they've come out with immunosuppression drugs, which are better than being on steroids, but in the long-term effects, no one really knows. So working our way back to more milder types of forms, I lost touch with. There's other different types of pills that are prescribed. Like Pentasa is an ASA type of drug that's prescribed. Salazapyrine is another one. Even Cipro, which is an antibiotic, is given to some people with Crohn's because they believe it could be an infection in there, so they like to clear up the infection with an antibiotic called Cipro. And then the simplest way of treating it, if you have a really mild case, would be, in my opinion, to change your diet. Go to gluten-free, go organic, go on no sugar, and give that a try. Because I think, and go on probiotics. And if you did all that the natural way, I believe you can control your symptoms naturally. That's my belief.
I know your company was doing stuff to help out with charities and stuff, helping to raise money and awareness. So I was wondering what you think people can do to help, just help out.
Okay. I think there's a like in the standard answer. There's a walk. There's a Crohn's and colitis walk every June in the city. So if someone were to take part in that or support someone who's doing that, that's a good thing. And I think I think by you learning more about this, and you don't even have it or you're not affected by it, is a positive thing to spread the word to other people, because it's known, but it's not really known, and it's becoming ever so more prevalent as time goes on. So I think that's a big part of it as well, just sort of educating people on what it is, and maybe sharing it with people so it becomes more known, and therefore more people will be interested in trying to find a cure, and more studies and everything else. Basically, that's really it. Let me just say, I'll end it by saying this. I appreciate you taking the time to call me and do this project on Crohn's and letting people know and educating people on it. And it was my pleasure to do it. And anytime you have any questions, feel free to contact me.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay. Take it easy. Bye.